And just like that, we are back. Welcome to Chronicles of Power, a podcast dedicated to the world of power, where I review and break down the latest episode in the Powerverse. This week, we'll be reviewing Raising Kanan, episode 503, entitled Tricks. Or for kids, written by Naja Rain and directed by Joseph Sakura, who you may know as Tommy from the original iteration of Power and obviously Force. So, what's going on, everybody? This week, like I told you before, we are breaking down episode 503, and if there is one thing this episode proved, it's that everybody thinks that they're making power moves, but only a few people understand the actual consequences of those power moves. Kanan and Breeze are feeling themselves after making a play against Unique's organization. Rock's new business venture is already attracting attention from the wrong people. Stefano is feeling a little bit disrespected. Marvin gets a little introspective this episode. He spends time with the Reverend, Rock, Juke, and a couple other people that we'll see and we'll talk about meeting Kanan, all while everyone is focused on the streets and Snaps and Pops continue to do what they do best. They see the board before everyone else does. And speaking of Pop, we are joined by the incredibly talented Erika Woods, who has quickly become one of the most intriguing and insightful characters in the entire Power universe. Thank you, Erika, for joining us today.
Thank you for that intro. It was really
Oh,
cool.
you're welcome. So I want to just say, before we talk about all things Pop, I want to humanize Pop, or Erika rather, and say that she is super duper talented. She is gorgeous. I saw her in person at the Raising Kanan premiere, and she is breathtaking in person. And I just want you to know that Erika is not the same person as Pop. And you guys have been hating this character for the past few weeks. And it's almost like we're getting death threats because we even post them. So please relax. Erika is different
Thank
than
you
Pop.
very much for that. Like, I really
Oh,
appreciate it. The hate
no.
is real. It's people really loved Famous. People really loved Crystal, and they're loyal. I mean, they want me dead.
Yeah, and they pretty much have a hit out on you guys. More so than Kanan, you would think,
Yeah, I'm
considering
like, yeah, why me? So I get it.
what.
I'm honored. Very honored.
Well, one thing that I think fans love, and I think that I'll say that me as well, that I think most people are impressed that Pops, she doesn't really care who you are. You can be a drug dealer, you can be a kingpin, you can be a young hustler. Everyone gets the same energy from Pop. What do you think Pop understands most about power that other characters don't?
I think that although Pop doesn't have children, I think she's everyone's strong black mama on some kind of surface, some kind of level. I think she gets maternal instinct, although she's not a mother, and she knows how to kind of play that. Um, she knows what people need. In terms of Kanan, I think he needs love deep at his root and guidance, and in her own sick and twisted way she thinks that she's giving it to him. So I think that Pop is really strong in that sense where she's not emotional. She's very methodical and really thinks with her head and not her heart, although she does it with a smile. And you may think that she's this wonderfully loving and caring person, but there's a lot of evilness at her core. So I think people don't realize that, and they're starting to.
Exactly. That's so funny that you bring that up because literally my next question to you was going to be, when Pops and Snaps or are giving advice, are they trying to help Kanan, or do you think that it's more so to shape him into what they want him to be?
I think they're good cop, bad cop, but I think ultimately they're always trying to help themselves, whether that's themselves as a unit or themselves as a sole proprietorship. You don't know yet. You just don't know.
Just
But
so.
definitely themselves, first and foremost.
Okay, okay, gotcha. So Let's talk about Breeze and Kanan for a little bit. And I know you can't say too much, so I'm gonna do a lot of the talking here, and then you can jump in when
Thank you.
when when
Thank
when
you.
you can come on in. All right. So Breeze and Kanan, they are making bold moves to take over territory. Take over territory. With the push of Snaps and Pops, they are definitely pushing them in the direction. We'll try to figure out what's Breeze's ultimate goal here at the end of this, hopefully. But them pushing Unique out and them making a play against Unique is definitely setting up a different landscape in terms of Queens and how Breeze is brought over from Brooklyn because of his aunt and his uncle. And from their perspective, they're building something. Something. And from another perspective, they're also escalating a war. Whether or not we realize it or not, initially, just looking from the outside in, they think that they're possibly trying to do things against Unique, but Unique is long gone. And thankfully, Snaps and Pops, they give him the insight that, listen, you guys are doing these things against Unique, and Unique is no idiot. He can see what's happening, and he's out of here. If he hasn't retaliated yet, he's gone. So, and we can thank the uncle and their aunt and his aunt for pretty much giving him the heads up. Like, listen, the stuff that you are doing, it's a bit extreme, but please be thankful that he's smart and he played dead before and he's not going to come back here again like this. Do you think that Pop was surprised by the actions of Kanan and Breeze by taking out Reggie, or even just by shooting up the corner in and of itself?
No. And the reason I say that, somebody gave me the best compliment the other day. They said the writing on Raising Kanan and the execution of the acting is very similar to Gangs of New York, with you and Snaps at the helm. So I say that to say, wow, what a compliment. And also, no, I think we know everything. We know that's going to cause drama in the relationship between the brothers. That's all they have. We know Kanan's family life is in shambles, so we can go in that way. We know he loves Crystal, so we can attack that way. It's very methodical. It's chess, not checkers. Um, but I think the only problem is we were retired. Maybe we should have stayed retired, but now that we're in it, um, we want to pull all the strings, and we're pretty good at that. We're real petty. We move in all different groups, and then we play each other against each other. And so I think that that's a really interesting dynamic this season, because you can see everybody thinks that they're playing each other, and you really don't know who's in control.
Yeah. Yeah. So control is that's a good
Pause.
word, right? Because do you think that Kanan or maybe even Breeze, they're overestimating themselves a little bit with some of the plays that they're making?
No, I would say no, because I think everyone's kind of a boss in their own mind. So I think
Okay.
everybody is making the best choices that they think they're making for their situation. But where I don't think people estimate is who is watching those moves. You're not always the smartest person in the room, even if you're the smartest person. There's always going to be someone smarter than you. So I think that that's
Hmm.
really interesting to watch. I mean, even seeing Stefano get stabbed, I mean, he's someone that is seemingly untouchable. And then you learn no one's untouchable, and there's dissension among their crew. It's not just black on black. Everybody, it's deeper. And so I think that's really interesting how all those loose ends are getting tied up this season.
Yeah, I remember last season when we spoke about how things would be tied up and what Pops and Snap's story would look like going forward. And it just looks like it's more manipulation on their end. Like it's just a mountain of manipulation, and we just keep climbing it every episode just to see how you guys are like moving the puppet strings. I call you guys last episode, I called you guys the puppeteers because you're behind the
Yeah.
scenes and and you guys are doing everything, but no one has caught up to it yet. And one of the things that I want to make clear to the viewers is this season, we have a shortened season. We are on episode 503. So please be prepared for things to move increasingly fast. We only have 8 episodes this season. And right now, what you see happening with it with Snaps and Pops, just remember it's going to rev up significantly
I mean, you have never even
considering.
seen Where We Live. I think that's so interesting. If you really think about it, we're probably the only character that I can think of you've never seen Where We Lay Our Head. To me, I mean, that's real gangster, you know? So who
Yeah, it's
knows? Maybe you
because
will. And why is
yeah,
that?
good
Something
point.
to think about.
Something to think about because one of the things that we always said, or one of the things that we talk about a lot within like comments or just among each other is like, okay, why does everybody know where everyone lives? People could just pop up on Tommy. People could just pop up on Ghost. People just pop up on or even Rock, right? Like just somebody coming
Yeah.
into her house. They know where she lives. They're shooting it up. They're just roundabout. And she moves and people still know where she
You just
lives
make a
because
left
Unique
right
found it.
there. It's that house.
She's right.
Oh, that's her car.
Oh,
Yeah, I was
yep.
like, why? You don't really. I find that intriguing and very very realistic. You know, So I wonder if people will see Where We Lay Our Head.
Me too. Some of us may have the answer to that and some of us do not, but we're not going to push any answers out. Okay. One of the things that struck me about Pop was that, because I do want to pick up something that we left off on and maybe we can dig a little bit more into it. Uh, I think Pops is good at reading people, which is what you brought up before. Like you guys found out about Crystal, you made sure to take advantage of that relationship. You guys knew about Famous and you took advantage of that relationship. Unfortunately, both of those people ended up dead because that's how you took advantage of it and you wanted to steer Kanan into your arms, pretty much.
Allegedly,
Oh,
allegedly,
not
allegedly, allegedly, Kimmy, allegedly. Okay.
allegedly. Okay. I can't say allegedly because we saw you do it. We saw you do
Allegedly.
it.
It was a
Okay.
black woman with a wig.
Uh,
That's all they said.
okay. With a wig, walking out of the apartment building. But okay, right? But I think one of the things that strikes most viewers most about Pop is that she seems less concerned about the tactics that people use, including herself, to get something done. And that's me talking about Breeze and Kanan, or even yourself, or even some of the things that Rock has done. I don't think that your feedback about Rock or about yourself or about Kanan is about how they get things done, but specifically within unique situation regarding Breeze and Kanan. It's almost as if no one notices what they're doing, even though you notice, but you just don't say anything about it. Do you think it's right for Unique to be pushed out of the game? And I promise this is my last thing about Unique because a lot of people were stuck on this last week. Well, why are they pushing him out? Why is his character essentially obsolete now? And my answers to that would be because Breeze is there. Do you agree that Breeze now makes Unique even being around obsolete, or there's no need for him anymore?
Hmm. I say anything can happen in on Raising Canaan. I mean, he was dead and rose from the dead. So you never know. I do think in our eyes, Breeze is a little bit easier to manipulate because he is our blood and we know what we're dealing with. Um, and we have, money tied to him directly. Um, don't really think we pushed Unique out per se. I think we just want to control all of those corners. There's not enough room for him, us, and Breeze. So that was basically a choice. I mean, you can stay.
But how can you stay if you're creating tension between all of them? I mean, you did give him a way to be a part of it, but they
Definitely
knew
did it.
that but they had to have known that their nephew's temperament and Unique's would never mesh,
Well, that's the thing
right?
Pop plays on, egos. You know, if they were really, everybody was mature, we could all work together and get a piece of the pie. But you have egos and hearts and love. And like in the case of Crystal and Kanan, you play on whatever their weakness is. With Unique, it's not a weakness, but he loves his child. He loves Pernisha. So you don't want anything to happen to them, so you can stay, but if you're not willing to work with us and for us, then I don't really think that that was a really good decision for him to stay. I think
Okay.
he
All
made
right.
an
So
executive decision.
I think so too. And I think it's for the betterment of him.
But you never know. He could reappear. Maybe he just went on a vacation. You never know.
Okay.
You
I'm not even
never
going to
know.
fall for your tricks today. Not going to fall for it.
He might have dropped his kid off and wife off and came. Anything is possible.
My guess is that he's out of here, and I hope he does so. He'll be one of the smarter people within the Power universe, the same way how we pegged Pops and Snaps to be one of the smarter people who were able to just stay in the background and manipulate people and not really get their hands too dirty. Another person that I do want to move forward to for this episode is our queen pin, Rock. So Rock finally seems focused on something that could potentially move her towards, I don't want to say legitimacy, but think of it this way. Like she's legitimizing herself outside of Queens. So Rock is moving forward with a plan with Flossie and Pino. She's moving to Manhattan. But then Pino meets with Stefano, and suddenly the business is no longer a secret. Because if we know one thing that the gangsters on Power do is that they talk, and they talk to each other, and they spill all the beads. So Pino pretty much tells Stefano everything that Rock has going on. Why did he feel the need to do that? Because he felt as though he needed to be upfront with Stefano and tell him outright, hey, this is what I have going on. I don't really care what you think about it. I don't care if you think I shouldn't be in business with her. He pretty much told him, go fly a kite. I do what I want to do. Okay, but what does Stefano do? He then goes and tells the wrong person, Kanan. Of all the people, Kanan, who is still tied to Pops and Snaps, who don't really have Rock's best interest at heart, even though they tried to work with her too. But now it's almost as if they have a vendetta against her. Uh, but
Allegedly, no.
no, come on. Why do you keep saying allegedly? There has to be something that you can admit to here.
I think we really, I really think it's just about us. I don't think anything is personal. I think she's a great mother. I've told her that in the past. I think she's a great businesswoman. She looks amazing. It's nothing, right? I've told her that too. It's just nothing personal. And I think that she is somebody that's actually respected our business and tried to stay out of our way. She's just like, don't mess with my kid. I don't want my kid working for you. And I'm like, no problem. Respectfully, we don't care what you want. He's, a man. He can decide. But I don't think it's ever been anything personal with Rock. They actually have a backstory, Pop and Rock. I've known her since she was a little girl. I just look out, after our family, and that's it.
Okay, I'll take that because I was actually going to ask you, what do you think Pop's opinion of Rock would be right now? You've already answered that. It's almost like you're
Oh
reading
yeah,
my
she
mind.
respects her. Oh yeah, no, I mean, she's one step ahead of her. I knew Stefano, before. I'm kind of like the big sis auntie, so I kind of treat her, like she's, youngin' in the game, but I definitely respect her. Um, and, you know, I have no animosity, toward her. I just think that she, can be bad for business.
Mm. Okay, do you think people underestimate how difficult it is for someone like Rock to not only be in the game, right? Because at this point, she's in the game and she's trying to maneuver. But if she wanted to leave, do you think people underestimate how hard it is for someone like Rock to leave the game?
No, I think people feel, I know, like from my point of view as pop, I feel that she should have left a long time ago. I feel that she's made enough money. She's had love in her life. She could have gone and been legit. She had the hair salon. She had a lot of different opportunities to go legit, which I think would have saved her family because I don't respect any kind of family issues. That's one thing I really don't respect. So when people are beefing in their family, it's like a sign of weakness to me because we don't beef in our family, allegedly. So yeah, no, I think people think that she could have gone legit if she had wanted to.
Couldn't the same be said for Pops and Snap? Like they could have went legit. They're done with Robin Banks. They really don't need to make this money anymore because they seem pretty settled,
So we
pretty
have the
set.
restaurant. We're upstanding
Right.
citizens. We just have we have a few investments, Kimmy, but yeah, we are very we are retired. We have our restaurant, and we make food and drinks
Oh
and
my gosh.
yeah, rinse,
Okay.
repeat. That's it. We had a pawn shop there one time. So yeah, I think that I don't think we see that same setup with the Thomas family. I know they had the studio, and Lou was, but that's the only part we never had, scenes with Lou. So, but I think that we respected that, him doing the studio, the bar, and things like that. We respect.
Okay. So then I had something written about Stefano about whether or not he feels betrayed or simply disrespected, but from Snaps and Pops point of view, does Stefano need to get involved with what Rock has going on? You guys have the Snaps and Pops character have already settled on what they're going to do with Stefano. Why does he even care that Rock is not operating in Queens anymore? And he feels disrespected that she's still working outside of the borough. You guys already have your own thing.
That's a
Why does
really
it
good
matter?
question. I think he just because I do think it's ego. I think he had grown an affinity toward rock that was kind of personal, and he got stabbed. And he even said it was a wonderful monologue where Stefano was like, "I've never so much as pricked a finger, and you come along, and you cause all this drama within my own community, within the families. And I despise you because of it. You promised me it wouldn't be anything. I looked out for you. I looked out for your kid, and you do this to me." So I think he's just like, I want to make sure that no more other drama comes into this, that you can't be anywhere in my energy. And I think that, and to take, hurt her pockets. I think that's where it came from. And ego. Ego is the death. It can be the death of people. And so I think that the ego got hurt too. I mean, he never been in any trouble. They had their business and everybody respected everybody.
Yeah, agreed. I think ego is definitely his motivation right now in terms of why he wants to get back to her, especially him referring to her as Edie Amin. I thought that
I said,
was
now listen, and I was done. I was done.
I was like, come on. She
Right.
wasn't the one that stabbed you.
That was a
She
great
didn't do
scene.
it. It was a great scene. He referred to her, he said that, you wake up with Diane Carroll by the night, she becomes Edie Amin. And I understand his frustration because he is blaming everything on her. Pretty much he is turning into Kanan at this point. Everything wrong, everything that goes wrong, he blames it on Rock, but he takes no responsibility for his hand in any of this. And one of the things that Pino points out to him is like, hey, you made your bed by going across the river and messing with the Jersey folks. And she's not the only person to blame for that. So the issue that you had with her may not be my same issue. We have something completely different going on. And I respected that.
Yeah, I
Should
felt Rock
should
did
he
good
have told him
business.
everything?
Yeah.
Maybe not. But otherwise, but let me let you finish your point. I'm
Oh
sorry.
no, I felt like she tried to do good business with Stefano. She
I
really did.
agree.
But again, he did tell her if anything goes wrong, I don't care if it's not your fault at all. It's on you. And she understood that. So it was kind of foreshadowing because I remember when he told her that. It's like, listen, I don't know them, but I know you. And if anything happens, this was in season 4. And she's like, oh, no, it's fine. So I think that that carries weight. It's like us with
Yeah.
Breeze. If something happens with him, he's our nephew. So
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, so I'll wrap up Rock's storyline for this episode by saying one of the things that we mentioned last episode was everyone kept asking about her money. How are you going to pay all of these people? You have to pay Pino, you got to pay Flossie, you got to pay Hafiz. And we found out the answer to that. And Rock is crunched for money and she knows it. We knew it from before, but now she knows, hey, I got to get this property sold, which is the small mall that she has in Queens. She wants it sold. And I think that we are going to be introduced to another character because of this sale. We'll see. So we're going to find out if she's able to sell the property, and hopefully this will get her pockets a little bit looser, whereas she's not so much in a crunch with the money that she needs because she has a lot of people to pay. And in addition to that, we see that other people know about her business, and therefore there are going to be people who are going to infiltrate the business and definitely make a mess of it for her, which is what we'll see later on, but we'll talk about that after. What I do want to get into, though, is Marvin. He has been a fan favorite for the past 5 seasons, even when he had a full-on altercation with his daughter. We've seen the growth that Marvin has had throughout these past 5 seasons up until this point. I think this may be a frustrating episode for people only because we get a deeper look into Marvin's psyche, how he feels about different things. And the reason why I use the term frustrating is because we saw some things from Marvin up until this point, but now I feel like we're getting a look that's gonna prepare us for a letdown later on. So he has meaningful conversations with Flossie. He has another meaningful conversation with the Reverend. He also has a big one with Jukebox where he is telling her essentially how proud of her he is. He can't believe he raised someone like this. And for a moment, it feels like it's finally an understanding between them. And the understanding is what matters. But then she throws him for a loop and says, I want to be involved in the family business. And it's a little jarring because she confronted her Aunt Rock about this. She has essentially stayed out of their business, unlike someone else we know by the name of Kanan. And she tried to do the right thing, go to the army, finish up school, sing, but everything right that she tried to do, it was always hit with a roadblock because of the family business. Now, here we are. She's talking to her dad and they have a heart to heart. And he tells her, I don't really want you to be in this, but because of the threat she has made toward Detective Garcia, and now he's accepting bribes from her, she has to find a way to pay those bribes. So what else is there to do? She can't go back to the army. She's not a singer anymore. She doesn't have full-time employment. She's not in college like her girlfriend Aisha. She is now working behind the bar, and she feels as though she's working for her dad and not for her aunt. And her aunt is just like, okay, if you think you're not working for me, you're just working for your dad, no problem. However you reconcile this within your brain, go ahead. He makes the decision that had me screaming at the television to actually let her do this. I wish he would have stuck to his guns and said, no, you cannot be a part of this, because to me, it feels like that's the wrong move on his part. But one of the best conversations that he has, I believe, is with his sister. He tells Rock about his belief in God, that all of the things that we're doing, it seems like we try to find the right way to do this, but we're all lost essentially. And that doesn't feel good for me. It feels a little ominous. I'm sorry if that word came out wrong. I know I'm a little congested today, guys. It's the allergies
Sounded
are
very
coming.
nice. No, it works. Yeah.
But I'll say that his conversation with Rock is something telling of this whole series as a whole. It's almost like, you know how we have Kanan in the beginning, the adult Kanan who gives us the narration and tells us, oh, this person did this. This is what I respect about this. And he gives us the life lesson. And it's almost like Marvin's character did that for us at the end of the episode when he talks to Rock and he says, you know, all of the things that we're doing, it may seem like this works, but we're all lost in the end. As someone who works opposite many of these characters, what would you say stands out most about Marvin's growth over the course of the series?
Oh wow. I think his growing sense of empathy and the devil and angel on his shoulders. I just thought that was so wonderful to watch that journey with him because, as you start, he had a lot of the devil on his shoulder. Didn't seem very empathetic, um, just a henchman, making choices. But then you start to see, like with the young girls and they were getting abused and things with his daughter and he's just really growing and having a really good heart at the root of everything and the fact that he is kind of a good parent. I mean, he to me he's a better parent than Raquel, in terms of what he's, communicating with his daughter and things like that. So I'd like to watch his growth as a human being and him grappling with like what he does for a living. In an ideal world, I would love for him to ride off into the sunset and like go get a, government job and or a regular job and just do the right thing. I would love that for Marvin. I think he's one of the good-hearted characters and he's very loyal to his family,
To a
even when he
fault.
yeah, to a fault. Even when they don't deserve his loyalty, he's like, come, he's very loyal person. You can't talk about his family or go against them with
Do you think he made the wrong choice in letting Jukebox be a part of the family business, or was it just inevitable at this point?
uh, I think that was a very emotional choice. I think it was the wrong choice too, but I think he just made it with his heart. He's like, it's in her blood. I think he thought at the time he was doing the right thing because he's like, she's gonna do it with or without me, sins of thy father. He knows what he created. It's in her eyes. So I think it was the wrong choice. I do. But I think he thinks it was the right choice. That's what
Really?
I think is sad. Yeah, I think he thinks, oh, it's a way we can bond. We share the same passion. We're both mad, at least I know you'll be safe.
Yeah. Ugh. Oh, your
It was
answer did
very
not make me feel
heartbreaking.
better.
Yeah,
It
it
is
was
heartbreaking.
heartbreaking. It was sad to watch. Two great actors. It was just it was heartbreaking to me. 'Cause that happens every day, in many communities across the world. You know, your father sells drugs. Well, I'm gonna teach my son or daughter how to sell drugs because this is what I know. It's heartbreaking.
Okay, no argument from me there. Some of the people that I did want to pick up on because fans are making a comparison between these two characters. So right now we got some beef brewing between Taz and Kanan. And right now they are moving like Kane and Tariq. So
Interesting. That's a good
yes,
okay, interesting. Yeah,
right.
Taz, something's up with Taz. Yeah.
Yep. So one person clearly seems favored, right? Because Breeze has essentially taken Kanan under the wing, similar to how Monet took Tariq under the wing. There was still a power imbalance there. One person definitely held more power, and the other one was learning and carrying out or facilitating a lot of the different things that the other one wanted them to do. But then the other person was clearly frustrated by this. And I could see that comparison. And we all know where that can lead, right? So now Taz is going to feel like he has to prove himself, to which he does with the Italians. He goes and says, you work for me and I have the upper hand here. He's doing a bit too much. All he has to do is just follow directions. That's it. Like, you essentially are cutting yourself out because you're making things hot, so to speak.
That
So what
ego,
do you,
the ego.
there we go.
Yeah,
You're
that
answering my
ego.
questions before they even come. So what happens when young men feel like they're not getting the same opportunities as the people around them?
It can play out in different ways. Testosterone is it can play out a lot of different ways. Some people go work out, some people do sports, some people kill each other. Some people take it personal and act emotionally. So I think that one thing I know about power, to think something is going to happen is usually the opposite. So I think,
Clearly.
yeah, I think definitely something's going brewing with Taz. Um, I think you have to keep all of your soldiers, all of your employees happy in any business. But if somebody senses something's brewing, then maybe somebody's a step ahead of that person. You just never know. It's just really good writing. Um, but I do think that you have to keep everyone happy or you're going to have backlash. We don't have those
Okay.
problems. All our employees are happy.
Oh
We're good over here.
gosh, Lord, I can't take it anymore. I can't take it. Okay, so Pop's player of the week because Pops and Snaps, they're always safe. They're always okay. So, from Pop's perspective, or even from Erica's perspective, who won the episode this week? Was it Raw, Kanan, Breeze, Stefano, Unique, Marvin? Well, actually, not Unique because Unique's gone. But did Pops and Snaps win the episode, or did any of those other people win?
Ooh, that's a hard. I would have to say I'm going to go ahead and say Rock. I think it's always a win when nobody can keep you down.
Okay,
And when I
all
mean,
right.
she's lost her brother and who got shot in front of her, you know, her son, so to get up, to go have a meeting with Flossie and to just pull yourself up by your big girl pants, I think that's winning, and she's solo. So I think that's winning regardless of the outcome.
Okay, well then who lost?
Honestly, I hate to say it because that's my boy, but I would say Stefano
Oh,
because I feel like I didn't know he was emotional. And I felt that that scene was just kind of like, if you're a real G, you're like, okay, I'm just gonna make my 5 or 10% off her, and you do whatever you want, but you can't work. I'm gonna send Sicilians out, and it's gonna be a whole war. Like you're a little emotional, you know. I think he caught feelings, and
oh,
I was a little disappointed because you're the
okay.
head of this huge, powerful family, and you're not supposed to catch those kind of emotions. It's a business. I would have had her out there working and took my 10%.
Exactly. Okay, so who's making the biggest mistake right now?
The biggest mistake? Well, I don't know. I mean, it's a new character. I would say Flossie. I'm like, you don't want to get involved in any of this. You have this nice penthouse, nice business. Like, you don't want to get involved in this. So I don't know what move she's making per se, but I would say it's a mistake even entertaining Rock for me because I just think she has enough business. Why mess with that? It's kind of like when we dealt with Ronnie. I thought we were making a mistake. We don't
Ah,
need to do that. Below our pay grade, you know? So I kind of
okay.
feel
Oh,
that not that Rock is below her pay grade, but I just think that Flossie's so high up here, and respected, and I just don't think she needs to have anything on the street like that. More than
yeah,
what
I
she
get what
may
you're
already
saying.
have.
Yeah, like if you're Heidi Fleiss, you don't need to get involved with this other stuff right now. You
Yeah,
have
you don't.
way
Yeah, you
bigger
don't
fish to fry.
need. Yeah, you don't need to. Roll with the gangs of. What you know what I mean? Like, yeah.
Okay, so who is the most dangerous person in the show right now? I know the answer.
Pop. I mean, come on, she killed somebody in broad daylight in the projects. Like what? You can't put respect on her name. Yeah, I would have to say Pop. I think that's pretty gangster by her, to do that and just like it was an average Tuesday.
Exactly. So,
Yeah.
final predictions from me, and then we'll wrap up, Erica. So before we go, let's do some rapid fire predictions. Does Stefano retaliate? Yes.
Yes.
Does Unique strike back? No, he's
No.
gone. Is Breeze moving too fast? Not fast
Yes.
enough.
Yes. His name is Breeze. Yes.
His name is Breeze.
Slow down, nephew. Slow down.
So, is Marvin headed for trouble? Absolutely.
Absolutely. Absolutely. With a bag of
Is
Doritos.
Is Kanan listening to the wrong people or not listening enough?
Uh, Not listening enough. That's a really good question. Not listening enough. You hear everything you need to hear if you listen.
There you go.
My mom
And
always told me
without,
that. Just listen.
just listen. Okay, without spoilers, what should fans be paying attention to that they might be overlooking?
Blood is not always thicker than water.
Come on, Erica. Come on. A huge thank you to Miss Erica Woods for joining us this week. One thing episode 503 made clear is that while everybody thinks they're building something, somebody else is always watching. And if there's one lesson we learned from Pops and Snaps, is that experience usually beats ego. Let us know in the comments who made the biggest mistake in episode 503. We'll see you next week on Chronicles of Power. Have a good one, everybody.